welcome back to Modern Fossil. We're going to get started with the final trial of Case 3. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So, what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well. It ended up with a giant mystery.
Oh, fuck. That's true. And we still haven't solved a single part of it yet.
Are you okay, Nick?
Huh? Oh, yeah, of course.
I saw that! That little flash of doubt in your eyes!
No, that wasn't doubt. That was, determination!
Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. You better get going to the defendant scene. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. You stop calling me Roger. Jesus Christ.
Hey, pal! Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She don't need that. How do you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Yeah, maybe this'll help.
Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too?
Not in a million fucking years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. This is the small bottle that turned up in Trey Beyond's kitchen a couple of days ago.
Wow, look at all these little bottles.
Oh, they're aromatherapy oils. He's got so many they're overflowing onto the floor.
Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others.
What do you know? It doesn't have a label either.
And there's a smell.
We finally got the analysis results back from the lab.
So, what is it? Is it the poison?
I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication.
Medication?
Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. For ears? You mean... Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. That was Glenn Elg's ear medicine? I mean, what was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen?
Small bottle, the victim's ear medicine, found covered in unidentified fingerprints in the kitchen.
What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but... That's gonna weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal. This is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today, got it? Today's trial. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done, or my name isn't Phoenix Wright.
You gotta practice being the judge. Like, you just like for the last like 15 minutes before court starts, he's just like bumbling to himself.
Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird.
You're gonna do like a very posh British accent. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Ready and waiting as always, Your Honor.
Very good. Then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday, we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems.
Mark on the rim of the cup shows that the victim drank it from it with his right hand. According to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand.
Thank you, Mr. Godo. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear.
It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick? Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. Well, see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it.
You've lost me already, Mr. Godo.
Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You've got to change with the times. That's one of my rules.
Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answers to these riddles?
The old guy wasn't just throwing seed in here. He was throwing us off the scent. Today I'll prove it.
Very well. Let the first witness take the stand.
And you are? Bonjour, everyone. I am Jean Armstrong, the owner and head chef of Le Champion, a restaurant. Enchanté. Enchanté.
Enchanté, mademoiselle.
Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman?
Oh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I am la but and Bucky, gentleman, no? On the day of the incident, you were at Chabion's kitchen. Isn't that right? Monsieur. Everything feels right.
Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy?
Spiders. I fucking hate spiders.
Very well, your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Tribune.
I've looked up this word to find out like how to pronounce it, but I've forgotten it already. Don't worry, I'll get it. I'll please the
Volunteers.
I'll please.
Volunteer.
Yeah. There you go.
Volontier.
Volontier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
volontier.
Volontier. Oh, fuck it. Come on. French people. It's not volunteers.
Volontier.
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 When did it all happen? There was just 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art deco that day, like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. Look up the earpiece and the glasses. Able to see everything in reverse, no?
Mirror.
Oui, un grand mirror. The most enormous mirror. I got that. He's got that fucking you know what I mean? He's got that fucking yeah. And suddenly, the mystery disappears. Like I said, the wheel keeps turning, so roll with it.
That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front.
What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your examination.
Woo! When it all happened, there were just two customers in my restaurant.
And who are the 2 customers exactly?
Yeah, of course, the young man who died, and the other, not so young man.
You're referring to yesterday's witness, I presume?
What about the other man Maggie says she saw at the table? Something tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose his existence.
We need some hard evidence first before we can bring him up, don't we?
Guess I'll just have to try a different approach for the time being.
I remember I was experimenting with some new art deco that day.
You were experimenting with Art Deco? How come I never heard about that before today?
You are not familiar with the language of interior design, monsieur?
Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before?
But I did, just a few moments ago.
Ahem. Excusez-moi, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decatur?
Decatur?
No, Art Deco. It's a style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior design. Walls, ceilings, carpets, that kind of thing.
Yes, of course, that deco.
I was trying to achieve a more effeminate look for my restaurant. And it was playing the most bold remodeling of the decor. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Oh my god.
How big of a mirror are we talking about here?
Well, something about 4 meters wide and about 2 meters high.
Let's see. 1 meter is about 1 yard. Holy glass in a frame, that's huge!
It was intended to install it on the ceiling eventually.
Ceiling? Like for sex stuff?
Yes.
Was there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember.
We all know, but I decided not to go through with it in the end.
What should I do? Should I ask him more about the mirror or not? Yeah, fucking press harder. If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. But there's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bird's testimonies.
But you didn't ask, Trite. You only have yourself to blame for such sloppy work.
What?
The mirror was delivered to Tribune the day before the incident.
Really?
As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turns out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end.
This just doesn't add up. Even if a mirror was delivered to Tribune, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime.
You want to doubt someone, Trite? Look in the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you would be dubious enough.
So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in a mirror.
Yes, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. If you need a translation, I mean a guy, yeah.
Thanks, yeah.
Yeah.
Normally, I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object.
Normally, how does normality come into this? That's lame, Trite. Even for you.
Huh?
Are you even trying to say that if something isn't normal, it is impossible? Is that it? Where does that leave the porky-headed lawyer and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with a mask over here? Well, Trite.
Ah, not the hair.
I do not have a top knot!
Mr. Kodo is correct. A lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument.
Yeah, logic has won the day. The cup, the earpiece, and the glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, no?
Everything? He would have seen everything in reverse?
Hey, Nick! We should take a sec and think about what old Stevie said in his testimony.
How did he phrase it again?
The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lenses of his specs. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear without a doubt. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup. His left hand. We saw everything he described reflected in the mirror. Then everything he said he saw on the left was actually on the right, huh?
And that clears up all the problems with his testimony, I guess. Or does it? It's kind of hard to believe everything's the fault of a mirror, but
Do you think old CD saw everything through a reflection?
if he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony.
But that just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's gotta be something in that old man's testimony. We just gotta dig deeper. Alright, what am I doing?
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, what was the last? What did Maya just say?
She said that, if he was looking through a mirror, everything that Victor Kudo said, was the opposite. So instead of he said that, the earpiece and the hand that he used to pick up the cup were on the left side. So that means that it was actually on the right side.
Right.
That's what Jean Anshon is saying.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Just 2 customers in the restaurant. Okay. The restaurant was Art Deco's that day. Okay. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Perhaps that was the old man was looking at. Papers and glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse. Okay. That's it?
Yeah.
Let's go to the evidence.
Yeah. Just think about everything that Victor Kudo said was on the right side rather than the left. Is that correct? Okay. Just think about that.
Oh. Because there's a thing with the vase and the cup. Right? Wasn't there a thing like he said?
Well, he has this apology. Why can't I not find it? Right here. When the incident occurred, I broke the vase on my seat. I'm sorry, so. But that has nothing to do with the victim himself.
Couldn't say.
Yeah. He said the glass, the spectacles that he had, the visor or whatever, and the hand that he picked up the coffee with was both on his left side.
Right, and then the earpiece is on the right side because he interrupted.
No, the earpiece was on the left side as well.
He said that everything was on the left side.
Everything was on the left side. That's what he said.
So not everything could have been in reverse because we know for a fact that the glasses were on his left side. Coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we?
The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lenses of his specs. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, though, without a doubt.
So to summarize, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw all that as a reflection in a mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side.
Exactly. You see, monsieur, now that you think about it, it is not so odd, no?
Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror, why is it that the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head?
Order, Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye.
Oh, bitter. Chite, you should have a taste of this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time.
Are we talking about your coffee or something completely different?
You don't understand the way the witness thinks.
How he thinks?
You remember this, I presume?
The I broke the vase story. Sorry, apology. I mean, Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony.
Exactly. The old man has one very grievous habit. Other than throwing sheets. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg?
Clearly, it's the victim's eyepiece.
And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elg's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece in those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear! Huh. Well, Chite?
That's the worst but best impression of Kudo ever.
Wow, I really thought he was old seedy for a minute there. God, it was good.
Enough! I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony.
But look, Nick, looks like the boil of a contradiction you found is just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds. Nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears. Please, I can explain. Please, if you look at the plans, a little don't.
The mirror.
Hello? Is everyone sitting comfortably? The mirror. It was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There is only one seat from which you could have seen an image of the victim. That it was that seat at the table next to the victim. That was where the old man was sitting. After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else.
I see no problems with the explanation we have just heard. From the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo would have been seen the victim in the mirror.
What a funny little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this. Don't worry about it. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again.
I hate that guy.
You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that?
Fuck, I forgot it already!
Volontiers.
Volontiers, of course.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you please. Mirror.
The mirror, it was in the restaurant, at the restaurant, dividing the two halves.
So run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct?
We.
Really? Because I know if I were you, I would have put a mirror there. It would be in the way.
Look who's talking, Trite.
That's one of my favorite movies. Huh?
You're obstructing my view, among other things.
But John Travolta was honestly great in that.
I don't care.
This is my seat in the courtroom.
Fabion's charm, but it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, Trite. I tell you, monsieur, the mirror was here, in the middle of the restaurant. There's only one seat from which you could have seen the image of the victim!
And where would that be?
Oh la la, look out, you can lean towards me. I hear these attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer.
Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once.
I attract the older ones too. You know, answer. Shall I tease you too? I'm already seeing a very hot someone. So I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. But she has mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume. Yeah, I never tell you. There was only one seat from which you could have been seen. That was the seat at the table next to the victims that the old man was sitting.
So why can you only see the victim from that particular seat?
Yeah, monsieur, it is obvious, no? If you look at the plans, you will understand. The victim would have been reflected in the mirror like so. If you were sitting at the table next to him, you would have seen everything, though. Well, that's the seat old Seedy was sitting in on that day when the poisoning happened.
The old man was sitting at the table next to the victim? Why does that seem kind of odd?
After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way.
Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police?
Oui, exactement. I carried it out of the restaurant in.
You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself?
What can I say? I know how to pick things up. Answer. Godo actually laughed at something.
Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible. Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong?
I look like the obliging type. No? Naturally, I did not touch anything else.
Are you sure about that?
I touched nothing except the mirror.
Mr. Wright, is there something the witness has said that doesn't match the crime scene?
Yeah, there is. I just can't put my finger on what exactly.
Suffering from a case of heartburn, right? Oh, I just the thing. Who's that? An oil with golden mirror and frankincense. Add a few drops to your coffee and voila. Enjoy.
Focus, Phoenix. Breathe. I need to ignore those two and just find some evidence.
It's pretty strange though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. You'd think someone would have... You think someone would have, but Maggie didn't. I did old CD.
And the only logical explanation is... there was no mirror
both
inside...
lied. Oh, there was no mirror. Yeah, that's right.
There was no mirror inside Trey beyond that day. Now I've just got to prove it somehow.
Oh, wait, what am I doing?
Okay. The mirror was in middle restaurant. Yeah, we know that. Obviously, there's only one seat from which you could have seen image of the victim. Yeah, okay. There's a seat at the table next to the victims. See which where the old man was sitting. Okay.
Yeah.
That tracks. The terrible incident occurred. I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else.
Oh, shit. Yeah. So what am I doing?
So I think what we... Okay. He had to have moved something else. I think that's what we gotta get at. Let's go to the evidence here.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. John's debt is $500,000. Don't worry about. Don't forget about that. Victor testified that he booked the vase at his seat.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the floor plans. They're saying that Victor Kudo was on the left side, like the top left seat, instead of.
Who? Kudo. Right, because he was here, viewed it through the mirror, it reflected back at him, and then Armstrong moved it this way in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's what he is saying. And then here's a crime photo. Coffee cup, yeah, it has victims and Maggie's fingerprints. Oh, fuck! Okay, okay. Yeah, the lottery ticket, whatever. Is the potassium cyanide, has Maggie's fingerprints found in an apron pocket. His prescription bag, it was empty before, it was empty. It's empty, don't worry about it. It's very empty, okay? This shows that Glenn wanted to meet with the tiger on the day he died. I don't care about this stuff, except for gumshoes and a lunchbox, that's very important. And then the small bottle, which was the victim's ear medicine, which was inside of the kitchen with unidentified fingerprints.
So that would have been on the victim, and then how to end up in the kitchen.
Oh, well, we don't know.
Huh?
Well, we don't know. Okay, so the mirror was in the middle of the restaurant, divided into two halves. There's only one seat which you could have seen the image of the victim. That was the seat at the table next to the victims, the top left one. That is where the old man was sitting.
Yep.
After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror out of the way, but naturally, I did not touch anything else.
Right, so I think what we have to figure out is what else they touched.
Okay, so what was moved? Think about, like, from what everybody has been saying, like, what does the crime scene look like?
Well, we have the crime scene photo, which we can look at.
So here's the photo of the crime scene.
Yep. Now, there was something said about the vase.
Yeah, Victor Kudo said that he broke the vase at his table.
Okay. We don't have a picture of his table.
Well, that's what this picture... That's this...
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah. You can see it there, not broken.
This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we have heard, Your Honor.
The crime photo?
Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist.
What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright?
Should not exist. Sounds like you're describing yourself, Trite.
Damn. Shoddy.
Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is this, something that should not exist in this photo?
I'm going there. Hopefully I got it. Okay, good.
I think it's pretty obvious that this is what should not be in the picture.
The vase? What possible connection does it have to do with this witness's testimony?
Your Honor, I'm telling you that there should have been no vase on this table. Because it is very clearly contradicts to this piece of evidence that we've already established, which is the fact that he said that he destroyed his fucking vase. There is one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all.
Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible.
You're impossible.
That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from.
Exactly. There's only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Trebion that fucking day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie!
Mon Dieu! Don't try to confuse the court, Trite. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking the time getting to the crime scene.
Unfortunately, Mr. Kodo, that doesn't quite work for moi. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary. In his own words, I did not touch anything else except the mirror.
Well, witness, what you have to say for yourself?
I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day.
In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear in which he couldn't hear?
Wow.
You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw?
If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it.
Are you gonna be okay? You really solved this contradiction, Nick?
There's more than just this one contradiction, Maya.
What do you mean?
Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table, and there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up.
Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer.
Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. Oh. Okay. The ear doctor.
Get the old doctor! Get him in here!
Ear doctor made a mistake would actually be a pretty fucking good one. Mr. Kudo. Well, that's a really simple one. Mr. Kudo made a mistake. The victim was a phony.
Yes.
The hell would that mean?
That the victim was not Mr. Elg at the time that Victor Kudo was witnessing the event. That wasn't Glenn Elg. It was somebody else. It was a phony.
Don't buy that. What mistake could he have made?
Do you realize what game you're playing?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. Wait a minute. The victim was actually a fucking phony. Oh my god. This case is riddled with contradictions. Holy shit.
You always choose the most ridiculous one. That's what this game is about.
Yet there's one very simple answer that clears them all up.
And what is that?
The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced. were two completely different events.
What?
Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenelg at all. It was an imposter, a phony, pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake.
Order on the court, let's settle down or clear the courtroom.
Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh?
What did you say, little bitch?
Right? Are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup?
Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenelg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo.
Get real, trite. Why would anyone want to do that?
Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was...
It's something about a cappuccino, but she put something in it. It's the something right there in the finish chair. I remember it well.
It's so hard to believe, but...
There was one, and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. Holy shit. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee.
Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but... It's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening.
That's right. Well, witness, your restaurant really was a scene of such theatrics. You would have known about it, correct?
Oh, no, this is most difficult for me.
Cut the shit. It's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You're under oath after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Traby on that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened.
The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day.
Oui. And we'll find out what happened in the restaurant.
In
the next episode.
Phoenix Wright's turn.
Trials and Tribulations.
Fuck me. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below, and hit that bell so be notified every time we release an episode, whichever fucking day. Bye.